Oh, it's been a long 2 weeks. It's going to be 16 days to be exact when Sam Houston football hits the gridiron. They're going to good old Kennesaw, Georgia to face the Kennesaw State Owls, the new blood in the Conference USA. They're rife with controversy at the moment. They're losing a lot of players, but Sam Houston coming off of a long break and possibly Luke playing their, or not possibly. I mean, they are playing their worst football offensively at the moment, and this could be a good time for them to bounce back.
Yeah, they need to, and fresh off firing their head coach, which has come into a little bit of a controversy just within the program and the university. Kind of sounds like it wasn't a very popular move, but now they decided to um, promote with from within, and their interim head coach being an old quarterback of theirs, a co-offensive coordinator. So maybe that tries to spur on Kennesaw State, but it has been the struggle bus for them to say the least.
Yeah, if y'all haven't heard of the news, Kennesaw State head coach Brian Bohannon has been, well, one one side says that he was fired. The other side says that he agreed to resign. The athletic director for Kennesaw State says that he thought that Bohannon had agreed to resign. Luke, it's just a messy situation at the end of the day. Of course, I feel for a lot of people because even Keeler had his own thoughts and opinions on it. Keeler said that these 2 years have been some of the hardest of his career, and that guy's been around football for so long because with Sam Houston's transition to FBS, so he sympathizes what's going on over there at Kennesaw State. Personally, Luke, I don't know how you feel about it. I just felt like it was just I don't know if it was just a move that they saw in the future that they were gonna make and they just want to go ahead and get it out of the way, or is it just plain malice and not the best move that Kennesaw State should be making right now?
Yeah, it's a fair question. Um, in some cases, firing a coach in the season can be a very good thing for the team and for the program, for the athletic department. That can be a good thing. But in this case, with Kennesaw transitioning um, into an FBS, and now they're in Conference USA from where they were, and they were with us in the FCS just not so long ago. And Bohanna was the guy that won them Big South championships and kept them consistently in the top 15, 20 in the FCS, even in the top 10. I just feel like this was in bad taste. Um, I don't like the firing, especially them being in their first full year in the Conference USA, Colin. Um, I just don't agree with it. I think you owe it to the guy who's brought the program to where it is. I mean, this is a very new program. He's been their coach, right? Um,
Their
for the
only
past however long,
their only coach.
their only coach, exactly. And for them to kick him out, really, I feel like you owe him at least to the end of the year and let him really um, not milk it out, but see it out to the end. And the record is what it is, but I I hate the move. I hate the firing.
So according to AJC Sports, an article written by Ken Segura, apologies if I'm mispronouncing that name. He kind of broke it down that it was actually Monday afternoon after a barrage of criticism. The athletic department released a statement from athletic director Milton Overton of Kennesaw State saying that he had indeed made the decision to fire Bohannon because of a downturn in results over the past 3 seasons. Overton said that in informing Bohannon of his decision, he had offered the coach the option to announce it was a resignation. He the Overton said, quote, at the conclusion of our meeting, it was my understanding that Coach Bohannon had accepted my offer. I mean, then Bohannon then released a post of his own saying that he had been fired. So, and with the coach firing, especially mid-season, Luke, there's going to be a lot of players leaving, and they're already feeling the brunt of it. They lost a couple of their defensive tackles, including Puda Williams, as he's called. He's entering the portal as a grad transfer. I think I saw somewhere that Jericho Washington, one of their corners, was heading to the portal as well. He's still listed as on the roster, but I think I saw his name on Twitter floating around. But they're starting to lose a lot of players, Luke. I it's just a very depleted roster right now. If you want to, speak the truth.
Maybe so, Colin. I'm looking back in their years, in their records. Colin, 3-6 last year. Only playing 9 games. I get that in there in the transition. 5-6 the year before, but then in 2021, Colin, 11-2. In 2020, very competitive in the 4-1, and that was in that spring season. Um, I get maybe the past couple years hasn't gone their way, but you got to give him some time, I think. And um, I don't know. I don't like the move, and I don't understand. You said that they gave him a choice for it to be resigning.
Yeah, they did.
I don't buy it. I don't like the move. I think that's bad. That's bad business right there. The guy that single-handedly brought the program to from nowhere into a national power in the FCS, and you fire him immediately because results aren't perfect the way it has been. And let's not be you know spruce about it. I guess. Gone. They were pretty good from the jump in the FCS. I mean, they went from no one to someone very quickly. And so if they were expecting that to be in the FBS, I guess they just have another thing coming.
Yeah. Correction, Tamaris Puda Walker, not Williams, was the one that into the portal from Kennesaw State. He's actually the number 4 ranked interior defender in Conference USA. So that's according to PFF. I mean, for what it's worth, they're losing a big piece in the trenches defensively. Walker's already taken visits to, or he's planning to take visits to UCF, Memphis, and Arkansas State. That's according to his agents from Matt Zenitz of CBS Sports and 24/7. So it's an ever developing situation for Kennesaw State. They have this could be a move that sets them back a couple more years to get them to actually be ready to compete in Conference USA. Luke, even with the record, even weeks before that, when the team was at its full strength, they were still not the best team in football whatsoever. They were one of, if not the worst. They were apparently ranked when it came to like certain ratings. They were ranked lower than the best 3 in Division 3. Which take it for however you want. I forgot what kind of ratings it was at, but it went viral for a little bit. But they still welcomed Liberty and beat them. So you cannot really sleep on, Kennesaw State regardless, because they figured out how to beat a really good team.
Yeah, and also that was their last game at home. The past 2 weeks they've been away, and so you think, hey, they're probably ready to get back home in front of their crowd. I mean, it's a very small stadium, but it's a packed stadium usually, and that could be a rallying cry. This whole entire saga this past week or so could be a rallying cry for these guys and say, hey, we took down Liberty. That we know Liberty hasn't played at their best in recent weeks, and neither has us, right? So I think, and Coach Keeler kind of talked about it being a trap game. It's completely a trap game for us, and a team that feels down and out. You know, you play for pride, and you can win some games that you wouldn't think they would.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, it's. I mean, I wouldn't know if I call it a trap game if the offense hasn't been doing as well as it needs to be or it should be doing with the talent that it has right now. But you know, we went to one trap game this year against UTEP. They went and take care of business. So if that means that they're going to take care of business against Kennesaw State, I'll take it. But to transition to the Bearcats, though, we kind of talked about it already in our previous pod about the rest and all. I mean, Watson dealing with the non-throwing shoulder issue. Keeler made it sound like that he'll be ready to go in Kennesaw, Georgia. But one interesting note is that if they did not have Watson in at quarterback, that they were devising up to have a more aggressive game plan if Watson is not playing. I find that very interesting because then that just kind of confirmed what I was thinking, and what a lot of people were thinking is that they were indeed playing way too conservative when another quarterback besides Hunter Watson is in there.
Yeah, and to be frankly, Colin, I think they were playing too conservative even with Hunter Watson in there. Um, More in the passing attack than the running attack. In the rush game, he's been taking some hits, but I think in the passing game, Colin, I would have liked to see both quarterbacks at least throw the ball a little bit farther down the field. I mean, with Watson, Watson takes a few shots. Kind of feels like every game when Bauer was in, Colin. You were lucky to get the ball thrown past 10 yards, right? And so, um, I don't know. I'm pleased with what he says whenever he wants to be more aggressive, but I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah, I agree, and I think they can be a bit more aggressive on the running end as well if they want to keep running the football. Let's try to. I would like to see them try to stretch out a little bit more, like not just run it up the A and B gaps constantly. Run some options to the outside, run some speed, and what this is kind of something Watson has to work on his own because you kind of pointed out a couple times this year that he's made the wrong decision on read options. Obviously it depends on who he's supposed to read, but there are times where he made the wrong decision, and if he just kept it himself, he would have had a first down, if not a lot more. Of course, that's
Yeah.
it's a little nitpicky a little bit, but because I'm not in that, I don't know what it's like trying to do a read option play, like because you got to make a decision in a split second, and if you're running back and the quarterback are not on the same page, it's going to cause trouble in the backfield.
Yeah, it's easy to say, right? Because we're not in that position, and we have the benefit of hindsight and saying, "Oh, he should have kept that one." But sometimes it looks different. But at some point, you got to make the right read, and we were making all the right reads at the beginning of the year and the past few weeks. It's things just haven't gone our way. So we got to use this week against Kennesaw against a depleted uh, team. That's just kind of in its own misery right now. We got to find this week to be a get right week and try to score the ball and really run away with it and be able to get refocused on the next few weeks. Because after this week, Colin, it's big games, back to back to back weeks.
Sam Houston has to win out if they want a spot in the Conference USA Championship. Jacksonville State, or Jack State, that I think they rather be called, has not lost a conference game just yet. What I again, Luca, we keep repeating back to that game, but that Liberty loss to Kennesaw State caused a whole worry of outcomes that could possibly happen. Because no one really expected Kennesaw State to pull off that massive upset, and I think they were 4 touchdown underdogs if I remember correctly. I'd have to go back and look,
Yeah,
but
28.5 point dogs.
28.5 point dogs, like wow, unbelievable, and and unfortunately, if Sam Houston could have beaten Western Kentucky, they would be that Western Kentucky game. Luke is gonna be look on very bad because if I believe whoever won that game would be the one that control their destiny. And well, look at how Western Kentucky's doing. They're just dominating the competition. They control their own destiny. You even said it. The Conference USA Championship game is going to Bowling Green.
I think so. I don't think anyone um, in the conference. I would have said us, but past few weeks, I probably not. I don't know if Jacksonville State or Jack State. I just don't think they have it in them to beat Western Kentucky and what we've seen Liberty now. I mean, Liberty's been shaky in just about every regard you could think about. So,
Yeah. Jack State just came off of an overtime win over Louisiana Tech, where they gave up 37 points. I mean, and it's Jack State probably has one of the best offenses right now, but their defense is a little questionable, which I think will help Sam Houston out a little bit. It's just, I just don't see why our defense cannot be unreliable at this point. Now, the only thing I say is that if the defense keeps on getting left on the field way too long, same thing as last year, albeit they're a much better conditioned this year. They're a lot more ready to have to be in those situations where they're going to be on the field more often than not. You do it too much, Luke, especially at the end of the year. It's bye bye Conference USA championship hopes.
Yeah, totally. And I don't know if I buy entirely into your I don't think Jacksonville State's um Jack State. I keep saying that. I don't know if their defense is that bad. I think it's a whole lot worse than, the rest of I would say the four, right, in West Kentucky, Sam Houston and Liberty. I think
Yeah.
they're definitely the last between those, but offensively, I think they're way better than West Kentucky, Sam Houston, and Liberty. I mean, just from what we've seen this year. Um, Jack State's is an interesting look because at the beginning of the year, they just couldn't find a way to get a win, and then ever since they went 0-3, Colin, they've rattled off six straight. So
Yeah, led by
I don't know.
Tyler Huff. Let's transition back to Sam Houston versus Kennesaw State. Real real quick, just I mean, I don't think the defense is gonna have an issue this go around, Luke. There's not a receiver they have to worry about. I think it's just all about keeping that run game in check, and they'll be just fine. Michael Benefield, in specific for Kennesaw State. But Luke, I said this earlier, and I'll say it again. It's not really a good thing if your running back's your leading receiver on the team.
No, no, you can get away with that for a week or two, but um, and when you're inside, um, however many games we've played, I mean, we're way past halfway through the season, and uh, you know, barely over 200 yards receiving. Um, it's just not very good, and you have to give some slack to Kennesaw because this was a team that ran the option um, throughout its history in the FCS and even into last year. They were running the option, and this has kind of been the first year they're trying to transition into something new and something uh, a little more up to date, if you will. And I think you have to give them some slack with that. But that being said, our defense has been very good, Colin, this year. The only criticism I'd give them the past two games is that we've given up actually quite amount of yards, but those yards just haven't turned into scoring. Field goals or touchdowns. Like our defense has been very good when our backs are pinned against the wall. Um, and Kennesaw has had issues with scoring the ball and really converting yards into points. We've seen that now throughout really the entire season, but um, that's just kind of been their issue is that they'll get a first down or two and then they'll sputter out and just can't find a way to um, really tack on points on the board, which that's been, I mean, it kind of plays right into our strength with Sam Hughes with our defense. I sense a little bit of trouble if you get down quickly 10-0, 13-0. I sense there's going to be an issue there, but I doubt that will happen, Colin. This team I think is just way better than Kennesaw.
Never say never, man. That's all I always say. You
Yeah,
just never know
yeah,
you just never know what the hell is gonna happen, really. I mean, you just hope it doesn't happen to you, but it's just, and we're not saying this because again, we're not saying that Kennesaw State's gonna run all over our defense, and it's just the fact that, like you said, Luke, this is where I agree with you. If you're down two scores early and the offense is still having issues, it's gonna be a very steep hill to climb.
yeah. We just haven't seen our offense, operate in an efficient manner, and I don't know when October 3rd, so over a month, really.
Yeah, it's we've we scored over 30 points in each of our games, in each of our
Every
first
single game,
uh,
every single game except UCF.
except for UCF. Yeah, I forgot about that. In almost every single game except for UCF, up until Western Kentucky happened, and ever since then it's been we in 2.5 games. The offense has scored. What is it? God, I can't even remember. It 10.
In two and a half games, we scored 19 points
Yes, 19 points.
since in 2.5 games.
You kind of mentioned it earlier. Just imagine if that game actually ended 3-2 like it did at halftime.
Oh man, we were lucky to score that touchdown against FIU because we blocked the punt.
Yeah, and Jay Ducker continues to be Jay Ducker with that big run to score the touchdown. So yeah, it's we'll see what happens, but it's that time, Luke. We gotta do this. It's time for our keys and predictions. I don't. I'm. It's pretty basic for me, but for me personally, my keys is that defense keep doing your thing, and offense let loose a little bit. Don't be uptight. Let loose. Like don't be so uptight. Just it's been a long 2 weeks. It's okay. It was a good time to get healthy, get back into potentially your winning ways. I mean, you've been winning, but you've not been playing Bearcat football in the last 2.5 games. So you need to get back into that. And when it comes to special teams, I think the 2 weeks has been really good. I would think for Christian Pavon, who is in a very bad slump right now. So I would like to see Pavon. I think Pavon's going to be asked upon to kick a few field goals. I would just ask for the special teams to keep executing. And Jaden Cardell, keep doing your thing, man. You've been amazing over the past few weeks. You've actually won us helped us win a few games. So, and if I were to say a score, Luke, I'm gonna be bold, and I'm gonna say we're not going to go. We're not gonna cover the spread, but I'm gonna say we're gonna win 20. I'm gonna say 28 to. Wait, no, that is covering the spread. Never mind. Forget what I said. 28-10. I think we cover the spread by a couple points.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, it's pretty obvious what needs to happen, Colin. We have to find a way to move the ball and to score some touchdowns early. I mean, we haven't scored a touchdown in the first quarter since Western Kentucky. That's not very good. Have to find a way to get some momentum and not have to have our defense out there, for 60, 70% of the game. We just have to give them some rest, right? And coming off this stretch of not having to play, on the bye and getting back on the weekend schedule, um, I think you just got to start out fast. You got to start fast, and if you can get a couple scores, in the first and not have to worry about being in a dogfight early, that can do wonders. And yeah, special teams, keep doing your thing when it comes to blocking kicks and or punts and uh, you know, putting pressure, on teams and not allowing any big returns. But we're gonna have to find a way to get back into some winning football with Christian Pavon and uh, we gotta kick some field goals and we have to hit them. I mean, you're just not gonna, in this next stretch of games, you're not gonna beat Jack State and Liberty while you can't you can barely kick an extra point. I mean, let's be honest, right? So um, we just got to get back to winning football. That's what we need to do. And my score, I'm rolling with 20-10.
2010. All
I
right.
think, I think, I think we win this game. I think the score isn't indicative of kind of how we won. I think we win in a much better fashion than 20-10. But I think that's just the score. The score will be a lot closer than what the outcome of the game is.
Okay. Yeah. And you mentioned it earlier. This will actually be Sam Houston's first game midday, but they're outdoor. This because they've had a midday game, which was against Texas State, but they haven't had a midday game outside. So it's always been night games. It's
What about
all
Rice? Rice wasn't it?
Rice was evening, 6 o'clock,
And
or
New
was it
Mexico State,
or
Hawaii.
or was it 4 o'clock? Hold on. Now you got me questioning my own thing right now because I thought I was cooking here a
No,
little bit.
I think no. Earlier in the season, we played some day games.
I don't not that early, 2 p.m.
Hawaii,
Hawaii, no, it was an evening game.
not Hawaii. I'm sorry, New Mexico State. New Mexico State.
New Mexico State was a evening game.
Wow.
Hang on, I got the schedule right here. Let's see. Hawaii, September 14th. Okay, it's not going to tell me the damn time, but I'm just going to go with it. And if I'm wrong, hey, if I'm wrong, leave it
Maybe
in the
you're right.
comments.
Maybe you're right.
No, just leave it in the comments. If I'm wrong, let me know in the comment section. And hey, give us your thoughts on today's pod. How do you feel about the game? Because I think it's going to be, I'm sure Bearcat fans are eager to see what has been going on in those 2 weeks and how it translates onto the field. But that'll do it for us here. I'm Collin Neal, Luke Scott. Remember, 2 p.m. Central kickoff in Kennesaw, Georgia, as the Bearcats take the gridiron once again. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's day, and we'll hopefully we'll hear from you Saturday. If we don't know if we're gonna do a space yet or not, like we do sometimes after the games, but we'll see what happens. If not, then you'll hear us sometime next week. As always, guys, eat 'em up, cats. Like and subscribe today.
In my cats.